There's going to be a couple more people joining us, but this is the Photon Friday, issue number 5 live stream. This comic book, let's start from the beginning all the way to the ending. I did a little personal review on it. You guys can see me talk about how it's like a contained story, and when things happen in other realities, it's just not my style of storytelling. That doesn't mean that there's not other things here we can talk about. Like on the cover, the earring, that little glow right over there is her logo. The earring has that 6-star. I do this, and I hope it focuses.
I didn't even notice that.
Well, you guys have your comic at home. You'll be able to tell that it's her logo that's on her chest there. So that's a cool look for the Monica Rambeau, cover.
Her fleur de lis.
Yes, that's what it's called. We're joined by Theo. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Hello, sir.
What's going on, fellas? What's going on this evening? What's going on?
What's up? What's good? What's popping? What's cracking? What's percolating? What's really good in the morning?
All that. We joined the chill market this evening. Photon Friday.
Any thoughts on the cover this week? Because all 5 weeks.
You
I'm echoing.
What did Paul say? No, Paul is freezing.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I said, oh, let's come on in.
That ain't me, right, Theo?
No. Me.
It's Paul. Paul's having a little bit of difficulties, but you're moving now.
Oh,
so try
me?
saying something
All
again.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me.
Well, there's a lag because when I responded, he didn't hear it yet.
Oh, there's a lag. Ah, jeez. All right, let me back out and come back in.
Okay.
But
so
the artwork was beautiful, though. You asked me about the artwork. The artwork was beautiful. Daryl sent it to me and everything like that. I have no issues with art. I haven't had any issues with the artwork, to be perfectly honest. The art is beautiful. I love everything about the art. Like, I have no complaints. I'm not even gonna act like that.
Luca Maresca is who we give that credit for. All right. There's an alternate universe version of the character Star Fox. Eros is this character's name. You back, Paul? Say something.
Something.
All right, there you're completely back with us. Now, how do we feel about the handling of this character, Star Fox? He's asking for consent, babe. Before I use my powers, I just need your consent, baby. And then he uses his little neutron abilities. Was that like? Is there something there? Because historically, this character's been seen as some sort of like invasive, and so he needed the consent. That was in there. They worded it that way for a reason.
I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Paul.
The original Star Fox in the older comics would probably have some questionable things by today's standards. So I think that was a nod to that.
Yeah, he used his abilities on She-Hulk to get them.
He's done some cringy things in the past.
And when she found out about it, she almost killed him. So and they were both Avengers at the time, so it's one of the things where, but he got a spotty record. Like he got a spotty record for real.
So when they say that this happened in Avengers issue 242, is that what she means? Like, there's a little editor's note there from EE. It'll zoom in one days. All right, there it is. It zoomed in from Avengers 242. It says, I seem to recall that when you did this with Vision, it made him go mad. What happened with Vision back in the day, back in issue 242 of Avengers?
I don't remember
right now. Let me see.
You guys are fake fans. You guys see, these guys are all old. Oh, we think they read comics. They don't read comics. They don't know anything.
Bro, I got like a lot of comics, like a lot.
Jake Duck says that I think Monica Rambeau should be called Spectrum and not Photon. I agree with that. I think Spectrum's more appropriate. You know what's funny though? If you guys read the new Free Comic Book Day Voices special that they do, just that Marvel has, there's like a 1-pager from last year's Voices Black History Month that talks about Monica Rambeau in the name Spectrum. Like, they didn't bother to update it. And that's kind of my problem with Marvel and the way they viewed this character. They're like, in that yearly book we do to prove we're not racist, we got to do like a 1-page little write-up on Monica. Here it is. Look, we're not racist. And then reprint it for the new free comic book day a year and a half later. Sure, we're not racist, but you're not putting no thought into it. When this comic book ends, it doesn't lead to anything. It's not like Monica Rambeau has building blocks now that will set up her adventure with the Avengers or anywhere else, Thunderbolts, anything. I just get a kind of closed story. I don't feel like any other writer is going to use Monica Rambeau Photon, except for Eve Ewing, maybe in Black Panther by the time she gets to issue 13, if she even gets to issue 13, because that's not promised.
Stay positive, man. Stay positive.
You know what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to, because we're men, reading a comic book written by a woman, featuring a woman. And so I know how that could look. So I was like, give a comparison if you're going to give one into what you would like a 5-part superhero story to be. It was Tim Drake's solo run as Robin, 1 through 5. It was a hero's journey. He stepped out from the shadow of Batman, learned how to be a superhero, got into some fights along the way. It was still a coming of age story. Like in that story, we got the internal conflict of how he had to grow up and become a superhero, had to learn how to, because he was always seen as that detective. He had to get his fighting skills up and everything like that. And then you had the external conflict with, what was this? King Snake or something like that. Then you had the external conflict. That was a superhero story. You had villains in that story. I'm like, I just told D-Real, if all we're missing is the love scene, and we would have a Harlequin romance novel.
Here's my take on it. This issue 5 did not have an ending. It just ended. Right? Yeah. It was like the same. It was kind of, it reminded me of, did either of you read the book Eve, Volume 1?
No.
Oh, well, that was an independent book by Victor Laval. I had the same issue with that. It had all this buildup through issues 1 through 4. By the time you got to issue 5, it just kind of ended. Now, this was kind of the concern that I had. Well, I'll put it this way. We interviewed Eve Ewing on Black Comic Lords, and one of the things that she said is a problem, particularly for Black creators, is being given enough issues to tell a full story. She and many other Black creators don't get the same luxury of walking into Marvel's offices and say, you know what? I have an idea for a story. When Jonathan Hickman walks into an office at Marvel and says, hey, I have an idea for a story, Marvel then says, oh, come, Mr. Hickman, please sit down.
And he gets to tell you how many weeks it's going to be. And you get
here's your blank check.
Every X-Men
it to be.
Every book that's X-Men has to stop for this. There'll be one called House, one is called Powers, and we're gonna charge $5 for each of these comics, except for the last ones, which would be like $6 worth. And you will do this for me because I am.
Name one Black creator that gets that type of treatment. One.
I will say to your credit, Paul, if I look at how Christopher Priest's run started off and how it ended, if I look at how Reginald Hutlin's run started off and how it ended, if I look at how Ta-Nehisi Coates' run started off and how it ended, there's credence to what you're saying, because it's like you can clearly see with those writers how there was one story that had to come before the other story. And generally it was their initial run that would turn us off. Those of us that stuck around to see it through, like, oh, okay, I see you. I'm with you. And we've gotten some great characters, some great stories from there. So I'm with you on that one. And as Chillmon and I talked about, if we're gonna hold somebody responsible, we're gonna look at the editor. Like you the editor, you the big dog in this. So as much as I can give a writer a hard time, if a football team is failing, I'm looking at the owner, not because it's your team. So I'm looking at the editors and I'm like, okay, you got this IP. Someone should have stepped in with John Ridley a long time ago. In regards to Eve Ewing, understanding what you're saying about black authors, writers not being given the same amount of time. I can definitely get that. It's the world we live in. I would have liked for the editor to have given her some direction, because if I do the side-by-side comparison with the Robin story, 5 issues, Photon, definitely should have been a meeting of the minds, the editor, the writer, Eve Ewing. But expectation that this is a superhero story. We can tell the story where we want her to come of age and everything like that. But let's remember, she's a superhero story. She's a superhero, and let's tell the superhero story. So as much as we can talk about Eve Ewing, there's still an editor that's over her.
But how much of that is us being men? She's saying, I want to prove that I'm enough. This may be something that all 4 of us may not relate to the same way that the target audience of this may want. This was a girly comic, even if you go back to last week when she was just all alone and she was having like her thoughts that we were listening to. This is a girly thing. I'm not a girly, I'm not female. And so it wasn't supposed to hit for me. Does that change anybody's mind? D-Rule, you're in here. Turn on your microphone. Let's hear you talk. Say something. Do you guys hear him?
Your mic's off, bro.
He's like, damn. No audio.
Paul, let me ask you a question.
Anyways.
So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily phrase it as girly, but you know, taking it from what she said, what we know that she's already said, what Eve Ewing's already said, it was a combination of she's only got 5 issues to tell a story that in her head is probably closer to like 12, right? And think about where this book jumped around in, right? In the first issue, there's the let me reestablish her history. There's Easter eggs about her past.
Yeah.
In the
Hala,
second, right?
Easter eggs to Eve Ewing's past.
Easter eggs. Look, the one thing
Yeah.
you can't. I heard some people make criticisms of Eve Ewing. I hope she does her homework, and it's like if you've read her writing, this woman does her homework. She knows comics. She is a comic head. No one should ever question that. And I think oftentimes, particularly with women writers and creators, they're not given the benefit of the doubt. There's always a question of, do you belong to be here? And I think a lot of that sentiment is what she was kind of, from a woman who is a professional, has had to deal with personally, I would assume. And she's kind of sharing that perspective with Monica. So not necessarily a girly thing, but I think Black women, probably, particularly ones that are in professions or have to deal with that type of question in their own minds.
Well, if she's watching this, Eve, I want you to know the same expectations I have for you are the same expectations I have for the men. Yeah, I want you to know that it ain't. I don't care who it is.
And that's what I was. That's what I was gonna get at. That's what I was gonna get at. Why should she be treated as a female writer? Why shouldn't she just be treated as a writer?
Right.
And we keep going to this girly thing and female this and lady that. She's writing a comic book. That's first. Okay, she's a writer, whether she's a female or whatever. And again, we're writing a comic book. So primarily, not majorly, but primarily, there should be action in a comic book. Okay, we didn't see much of that in this run.
Like I said, I just want her to know if the sister is watching, if the queen is watching. I just want you to know. The same. If your name was Patrick,
and don't take it as a knock.
If your name was Patrick,
it's not what I say. I don't say it. I'ma shut up.
Right, I mean, like, no, because I understand what Paul is saying. I do believe that there's some degree of perception, there's some degree of reality and everything like that. I just want her to know, like I said, if she's watching. Nah, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Like, good God Almighty Jesus, what I gave John Ridley was, never mind. But no, like, I don't care.
Hey,
Listen,
when's the
do not-
John Ridley
I do not
interview coming?
speak-
Paul, get
I
that
do
cooking.
not speak of the outlaw American writer whose name will never to be spoken on our channel ever again.
Ugh.
I'm rooting for the sister. Like I know, because if she does well, and that's the thing, if she does well, she uplifts a character that I love and care for. So it would be crazy for me to root against her. Like, nah, man, I'm looking forward to the new supervillain that she's introducing and everything like that. I do want her to,
Hey, so are comic book spectators who are going to boost the amount of issue number 2s, and then even issue number 1, because maybe the final page will have that character. That means something to an audience.
I just, as Paul alluded to, I understand based on the way I've seen other writers, black writers, write this character, where there has been a noticeable shift in tone from their first initial story arc to their second story arc. And folks being checked out by the time they get to the second story arc. You be like, "No, you missed it. you should have stuck around." So I get it.
She tried to do a lot with this book. She tried to first, for those who are less familiar with her, reintroduce her to casual fans who may not know much about her. She threw in her parents. You see in that page there, which were introduced in the Avengers way back when. She talked about her prior names, her prior history, her power sets. She expanded her powers, right? I mean, the very first or second issue, she's teleporting Avengers, which is a power she's never had before, right? So she expanded her power set. Then she travels. You find out that she's breaking, the dimensional barriers and is able to shift between worlds. Didn't know her power could do that. And then on top of all of that, you have this flashback where you realize, what is she, a mutant? There's apparently this illusion that she's a mutant. At the end of the day, all of these things that were done through issues 1 through 4, when you get to issue 5, you're like, well, there's going to be a big climax and wrap up of all of this. And unfortunately, number 5 didn't really, there was no mention of the mutant thing. There was no big bad to fight, so to speak, right? When to Theo's point, it's a comic book, it's a superhero comic book, you expect the big antagonist to fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this would have been a better series if she had a few more issues to wrap up these threads, these great threads that she started. I just think it needed a few more issues.
How much is this?
Did we talk about where Photon number 4 is sitting? I know it's too soon for 5, but did we talk as far as in comic book rankings?
Oh, I think it went to 200. I think it was like right at the edge of being unranked by the website I'm looking at. I look at the website. Well, it's from ICV2, and then they just like take the information from them and they put it on their site. I think it's called Comic Book Revolution. Where is it? Sales chart. Yeah, comicbookrevolution.com. That's where I look. So it's doing poor.
Okay.
According to estimates, okay? Now, I don't know who keeps the actual data, but it's doing poor. Theo, what were you saying?
I want to ask a question. It's like a 2-part question. And this is something that I'm looking at in regards to Monica Rambeau, just reading this and everything like that. And even with how we've seen T'Challa be written. So when it comes to certain characters, because like I said, when I do that side-by-side comparison, there was no need to and Monica has been around, I want to say, longer than Tim Drake has. I don't know if the writer felt the pressure, the need to start Tim Drake off from ground zero or just continue his story. And so I'm looking at Marvel and I'm like, because Paul, as you alluded to, Monica's displaying these powers we've never seen before. But have we not seen these powers in comics, or have we not seen these powers in the MCU? I believe we've seen these powers in the MCU. So now my question becomes, we got Eve wanting to tell a story. But is Eve's story being impacted by Marvel's directive to want his character to want to mirror the character in the movies? Because as you said, these aren't her powers in the comic. We never seen, but we have seen these power sets in the MCU, and these power sets are going to play out. If that plot leak is what it is, this power set is going to play out in the Marvels.
That's it. And listen, that's probably why she's gonna be a mutant, and the way that and wait, by the way, they didn't say mutant, so maybe someone decided to change their mind, or someone was fighting for them not to use
they left it open. They left it open.
It just makes me look at, taking everything that we're thinking, what Paul has said and everything like that into consideration. If that's what was going on, and there's no reason for me to doubt it based on what he said, she was basically playing with a stacked deck. She's being told, you got to do this for this particular reason, for this particular agenda. We keep talking agendas. She's being told she got to do this for this particular agenda. There's probably another story, as Paul alluded to, 12 issues. We get 7 more issues. We get that story that we sitting up here, okay, we want. But she can't, because she got 5 issues, and there's a difference between doing what I want to do in a 5-issue run and being told what I'm directed.
Yeah, certain marching orders as to things have to be in there. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's why I look at the editor. I just go back and I look at the editor, like,
there's a lot to be said about the concept of the MCU having an influence, because what do we know about the MCU's current future, right? We know Kang is a part of it. We know that the multiverse is going to be a part of it. We know that means other dimensions, other realms of existence. We know the X-Men still have to be introduced, right? The easiest way to do that is through the multiverse. And we know Secret Wars is coming, right? And Secret Wars has to do with the various multiverses crashing and eventually creating a new Marvel 616, which includes Miles Morales, you would assume. And that happens with Secret War storyline. So in this Photon run, we see that her power set is such that it causes rips in the multiverse, right? Mm-hmm. So we see from the trailer for the Marvels that her powers are also interrelated with Ms. Marvel and Carol Danvers.
Yep.
And they're able to switch places, right? And you have Monica switching places with other versions of herself in this comic. So Theo, I think you're dead ass on that, man. I mean, I think there's something to be said about that.
Now watch this. While it might work for the MCU, because we saw a Captain America Civil War that played out beautifully for the MCU. I don't think anybody had any complaints about how that movie played out. But when they tried to promote it by doing a second Civil War in the comics, that story sucked. that story sucks. So I'm like, I don't know if you the comics, I don't know if you want to hit your wagon up to that. Like, what's good for the goose might not necessarily be good for the gander on this one. Like,
that's such an old people saying, what's good for the goose.
We're fans, and we've seen Monica Rambeau before. And I think because we've seen her before, because we experienced her before, we were expecting, yearning, desiring something different, which the more I'm listening to you, Paul, I'm like, okay, this wasn't your fault. This wasn't on you.
I wish I had that much influence and power.
James is in the building. James says, what's good, comic fan? H&H is here too. Shoot. Let's discuss this comic a little bit more, though. Like this specific issue that D-Real has also. Are you done shooting your little music video, D-Real, where you're just like entering the home? You muted yourself.
I was shopping and I lost track of time. Forgive me.
Okay.
See, you thought I was gonna come in here with an excuse, didn't you?
No. Look. someone who does have excuses though for not creating characters, it just feels like Marvel Comics. I feel like these writers and artists don't want to ever have to create something that's work for hire and they don't get to keep. Even who doesn't seem to care about that, because we got a brand new cousin named Caleb. That's who's on the final shot, where you can see her talking to him over here, where he's like, "Hey, don't teleport. Don't do that thing where you're here in an instant. It'll take 30 minutes. I guess you kind of would, I remember reading Harry Potter, and you guys remember the beginning of book 5 when Dumbledore was like, we're going to show up at this teacher's house, but we're not just going to appear at his front door. We got to apparate down the street, and then he'll get like his signal that we're there. If anyone read that Harry Potter book, I think it was issue 5 or volume 5. Look, that makes sense. teleporting onto people's front yard, it gets repetitive. It gets tired really quickly. So now I guess she read that book too, e-viewing.
Not to mention it's mad disrespectful.
It would be, yeah. You could do it to your dad, I guess. You could do that like when your family.
You don't know what I'm at the house doing, and you might teleport into the middle of something.
Listen, I'm your dad. That's right. I'm your dad. Don't do that. I'm still your dad.
But a brand new character has been created with her cousin. That always gets points. And then you can see what e-viewing's doing in issue 2 of Black Panther from what we've read in solicitations. Creating new characters is not something that she's going to be opposed to. And when you create new characters, you don't ever tarnish an existing character. That's never going to be a problem here. Creating new characters, go ahead, keep doing it. I'm so glad for the character. I'm actually
surprised more black creators, when they have the opportunity to do a book, they don't do that. I suspect the answer is that the editors also say what they can and cannot do. You talk about, well, we need more representation. I know, Chillmonger, you're always talking about that. I always appreciate that. And one of the things that I think is not emphasized enough is, where we really need representation? Editors. How many black editors are at Marvel? Not a lot.
When I read these names, not many.
There's not many.
I said to myself, we're not in the room.
We're not.
Also, guys, how many editors matter? Like, I think the guy who does Avengers is Tom Brevoort. Am I right about that? There's, who else do we know? Will Moss. Who else do we know?
Will Moss.
Jordan D. White. Nick Lowe. So that's 4 editors who kind of take care of things. And
don't forget CB
associate editors.
That's the editor in chief. That's right.
The associate editors are the ones that go over individual books.
So that would be Annalise Delabise, or what's her name?
Yeah, sometimes it's the associate editors that make a lot of those decisions.
Listen, everybody should have got fired. I'm sorry, my bad.
You want to see something interesting? I talked about this recently in a live I did. There's a website called League of Comic Book Geek, right? I don't know if you guys ever go on there, but I would challenge you: find a book that you like, or find a book that seems questionable to you. Go on it, input the book, and then the cool thing about that site, it'll show you all the creators. Right, there you go. So just pick a book at random that you would suspect. All right, there you go. Scroll down. It tells you right there, creators. It tells you who all the editors, how many. So pick your favorite black book and see how many black editors are on it.
That's like an IMDb for comics.
It is. There you go. Go back. Go to that Captain America thing. There you go. Click on that. So that's got Sam Wilson. The writer's Tochi Onobuchi.
So diverse.
Who brought Hunter back, believe it or not. I was like, why is Hunter over here? Oh, okay. I see
you. You guys can tell I'm in Canada. You see this ad right here? Betway, join.
It spells favorite with you.
Man. That's a good point, right? I do peruse that website, but I've never actually stopped to think about, oh, look at all these faces. Now they might get like a Latino artists. I'm not judging Marvel. I understand that it would be cheaper, and I get it. It's a win-win situation because if you're an artist, you're not mad. You're like, right. Well, I got this access to money, and talent is talent. Hello,
there's a reason why a lot of those Stormbreakers artists seem to come from all over the world.
Yeah, I got compliment here for great stream. Need more original characters and the PR to support them. I might push back on that. I don't think we need more original characters.
Especially not with T'Challa, because he's got a whole entire rogues gallery that never, ever gets utilized.
If we're talking supporting characters, sure, yeah, give Photon more family members and people around to hold her up. But if we just mean like we need more, like Blue Marvel happened in 2009, and what did that really amount to? Thankfully, Eve Ewing, her brother Al Ewing, thankfully he utilized him.
Her brother Al Ewing.
Yeah, they're related. That's what she said in the interview. Remember?
They're not related.
No, she addressed that in your interview. You got to watch it back. She said so. But like, other than that, Blue Marvel's really barely ever featured unless Al Ewing wants to utilize it. I don't need more characters in the mix of D-list. We have existing characters, Storm and Black Panther. Then there's like a gap, and there's everybody else,
There's
like
literally
Miles and Luke and Monica. And I'm like, I'm not for more black characters. Like you're saying, you need more original characters. I'm like, utilize the ones that you have and try to get them up, and just choose one.
Absolutely.
Because when we dilute the efforts when we spread it across all these other characters. Like one day we're really gung ho about Ironheart, then we're not anymore. But it's Misty Knight's going to get a little attention, and I'm just like, we could have been on the Photon elevation train for the last 5 years, and maybe that would have resulted in this being a little bit more successful.
I agree with you 110%. Marvel has plenty of black characters, plenty of them. DC has more black characters than Marvel does. The problem is that it's a matter of utilization and promotion. That's what James is talking about, the PR. Think about it this way. We talk about this all the time on the channel. Is Marvel made a talking raccoon an international superstar. Right?
It can be done.
It can be done with literally anything. It made a talking stick group an international superstar. You're going to tell me they can't take, some random black character and decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to promote this character and make them famous. People forget I'm an old head, right? So I remember the promotion that was done with the Marvel Knights brand back in the day, right? And when Priest did his historic run with Black Panther, Marvel made a conscious effort to say, we're going to promote these C-list characters and promote the hell out of them under this new line called Marvel Knights. And I remember the advertisements. He's got as much money as more money than Tony Stark. He's smarter than Reed Richards. He can fight better than Captain America. Who is he? It's the Black Panther. And they promoted the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that Marvel Knights run was only supposed to be like 12 issues. But it kept going. Why? Because it was popular. They promoted the hell out of it. People said, you know what? Black Panther is actually kind of a dope character. This Christopher Priest guy is doing a good job.
Yeah, he executed by doing a good job. He
executed a good job. He took what was supposed to be a limited run, did such a good job. Marvel said, run with it. And it ran for 47 issues or something like that?
And he was qualified, and he wasn't the diversity hire that we get. Oh, he does movies. Let's get him in here to make him do the Black Panther. It wasn't like that.
Marvel can turn any character they want popular if they choose, right? If they decide, hey, I'm going to pick the Prowler and make the Prowler Marvel's #1 black hero, they will put Prowler in X-Men and Avengers.
Yeah.
They'll put him on lunch boxes and merch and on T-shirts. And guess what? People will be like, T'Challa who? That's if they decide to do that. But that's not a decision that's made.
I think one of the things that's been a constant thing, regardless of whether we're talking comics or movies, is that these characters are by and large underdeveloped.
Yes.
And if the main character is underdeveloped, then so are the supporting characters. They can't help but be underdeveloped by association. So I agree that we have a plethora of black superheroes, African superheroes, whatever we want to call them. They just need to be developed. Like,
was that a Cleopatra dig? I watched you guys' live stream. He said African superhero, black superhero, like it's the same thing. Okay. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry, I have to chime in. I wasn't there for the live. I have to chime in.
But I'm just, at the end of the day, if they were to ask us, the four of us, to write a story about Superman or the Flash or Green Arrow, I believe we would knock that story out the park. Know the character's history. That we don't know, we research it, pull up some old comic books and everything like that. Maybe we introduce a new character, something like that, a new villain.
That's what I would do. Yep.
Something like that. But at the end of the day, we're going to continue fleshing out that story. We might wrap up some old loose ends from back in the day. We don't look anything like Oliver Queen. I do not understand for the life of me. With a character as popular as T'Challa is, let's go ahead and throw that out there. That's what that is. Worldwide. Why don't you want to put it's a win-win? Am I wrong in saying that it's a win-win?
That's
You
that
don't.
that the T'Challa situation is one that's near and dear to me because he's my favorite character. I mean, I've been a Black Panther fan since the '90s.
He didn't want to give away his age, so he just went with the years. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Go and say Jungle Action, man. Go
Yeah,
and say
ain't
Jungle
nothing wrong
Action.
with
You
Jungle
know about
Action.
to say Jungle
Ain't
Action,
nothing
bro.
wrong with that.
Don't have no shame
Look,
in your
so-
game.
it makes no sense, right? Ultimately, Marvel's a company; it's a business, and businesses and corporations are motivated by ultimately making money. You have the character who had the most popular superhero film, most productive, profitable superhero singular film, not including that last Spider-Man movie. I don't really consider it a singular film because it had 3 different characters in it. In the world, why don't you run with that? It was an international phenomenon. So much so that it was your first Oscar-nominated film, Oscar-winning film, and you don't want to expand with that? Let's take a look at Marvel's roster of MCU properties involving Black Panther Wakanda. Is anything coming up?
You know what got me, Paul? It was 2 things that got me. I was like, Deadliest of the Species. I went back to it, and then
H&H knows me well.
And then I said, there's this Avengers comic book out there where the Bozeman helicarrier is flying over Wakanda. I was like, then when you read the, you get the plot leak. I'm like, why y'all just don't go with Deadliest of the Species?
Oh, I can tell you why.
This would have felt like Deadliest of the Species, the Bozeman helicarrier. So now we get to think about Chadwick Boseman for the rest of the MCU's existence, because every time you go to Wakanda, the Bozeman helicarrier is right there. We would make this a point of emphasis to write this in the plot.
It feels like the actions that I'm viewing right now are that of a superhero company that want to promote that they're inclusive and friendly, and they're trying to convince, to be polite, to put it nicely, other white liberals. I know I just use the word that is triggering, but like white liberals see this and they see Wakanda Forever and they're like, oh, this company's doing enough, sure. And then they're gonna watch Captain America: New World Order and they're gonna see Falcon go as Cap and they're gonna say, this is great, another black lead. But to me, I'm going like, no, that's temporary. That's Steve's position when that reboot happens. Falcon doesn't survive the reboot. He's back down to his regular Falcon. You just taught your audience that he was only worthy of a movie when he was Cap. I'm looking at every elevation of Shuri and I go, that doesn't survive the reboot either, because when that reboot happens, you're going to go back to the main T'Challa and hopefully that actor won't die and you won't actually do like a swap later on and exclude him. These efforts are like Marvel Voices and the anthologies that don't go nowhere and 5-issue limited series that tie, just to bring it back to the comic we're talking about. They're not enough to, be progressive or make actual change in circumstantial stuff. They're more so like, if we just use quantity and throw that out there, it'll convince the people in our circles who don't have skin in the game. Like this will convince everyone that we care about that we're doing enough. And not only are we doing enough, we're succeeding in our amounts because of how much we're doing. When I'm like, nah, concentrate all that effort into one character. You might actually, and to the writers, forget about us writing these characters. Find Hickman, Ewing, Al Ewing, the guys with the names and popularity. No insults to John Jennings and everyone else who's black writing a Marvel comic right now. I'm not insulting Cody Ziegler. I just mean there's a difference in the level of Jason Aaron versus some of these guys who are,
they have followings.
They got followings. You want to show the audience that they matter? Have those guys be writing these comic books and see what happens. I don't believe you got to look like the character to write the character. I know we were just on the new what was it called? It was comics, the League of Comic Geeks. I know we were just there and we got to see everyone who was involved. And I get that it'd be useful to have an editor who's black, who's actually like thinking with actual ways to progress. I know that would be useful, but at the same time, like you guys are just trying to save money by hiring guys who would love to do this. They're from outside, and this is your chance. This is your opportunity. You're a novelist. Here, take a crack at this. We'll give you a minimum beginning salary to write this comic book, and you get to save a little bit of money. You'll sell variants for issue number 1, and it'll be canceled before you know it. Or the exception to the rule is what's his name? We were just saying Priest had, where he went to like 55 issues.
Yeah.
Anyone want to comment on that long bit I just gave?
Let me ask you a question. This is somewhat on the point, but somewhat tangential as well. Name all the black heroes in the MCU.
We got Don Cheadle. I mean, I should say War Machine. Okay. Falcon. And then T'Challa and Shuri and all the Dora. So it's all Okoye and them.
Keep going.
That's 5. Battlestar and Monica.
Yeah.
Does Nick Fury count?
Nick Fury, sure.
Are we doing Netflix?
Luke Cage?
No, let's just stick to the direct MCU.
Yeah, just those.
I mean, it's only Luke Cage, right?
Yeah.
Are we counting the alternate universe that showed up in Doctor
So
Strange?
think about all those people you just named.
That's the point.
How many of them?
Isaiah Bradley, Tessa Thompson, Valkyrie. Okay, but they're not like the lead.
And I see the point he's getting at. But
okay, so of all of those characters, how many of them have actual superpowers?
Well, it wasn't Rhodey, and it's not Falcon.
It's not Falcon.
Monica has superpowers.
Not Nick Fury.
Not Monica, T'Challa, Shuri. Monica, and the 2 Black Panthers have superpowers. Does Valkyrie?
Valkyrie's is a what do you call those people? Asgardian. So she's stronger, and
they consider them in the MCU an alien.
Now of those powers, those people, those 4 people that you have up that have powers, other than Monica, how many have like what would be deemed high level powers, Omega type powers, like big powers?
There you go. There it is.
Smith talk about that all the time. Mr. Smith.
Not one.
Not
one.
Okay.
Monica's it.
Wait. Somebody gonna say Fastos.
Powers that you give that hero.
Somebody gonna say Fastos.
Bro,
it's
that
Fastos.
You put in there tells you what they think about
Fastos' power is that he's immortal and he can make stuff.
And just like Heimdall, the actual comic version isn't a black character. So when they do the reboot, that may not survive. They may do a different version of Fastos from another ethnicity.
I hope Fastos come back like he's supposed to, as well as Heimdall. I'm just hoping if they do both of them, they come back doing a reboot. I hope both of them come back the way they're supposed to. I believe in equal energy. Bring Heimdall back like he's supposed to be. Bring Fastos back like he's supposed to be.
Kamoyo Kid, a team of all millennial superheroes is getting washed by an older villain. Everyone will be too busy doing selfies to actually
Oh, we got Blade upcoming. That'll be cool. We heard his voice.
That's true.
But Blade is not that supernatural thing that you're asking for.
Okay,
yet.
didn't that happen when they
why aren't characters like Blue Marvel, Dr. Voodoo, even Luke Cage isn't even in there.
I mean, if we're actually spitballing this and throwing it out there, name some really powerful characters who are black in the Marvel universe.
You didn't see
Captain Universe.
As
I said, Blue Marvel, Dr. Voodoo's powerful. Storm is the most powerful. Just pick. You can pick like at least a half a dozen mutant characters. Sunspot, who's black.
Bill Foster was in the MCU. We didn't get to see him do nothing.
Oh, that's
the point I'm getting at is you got to think about it. And if we got to sit around and think about it, and we got to finagle and go mutants and Avengers and a thing like that, there needs to be more proliferation of powerful black superheroes.
Yeah.
D-Real, is this a thing? No Blue Marvel, no ticket?
I think Dion's trying to start that.
Oh,
hey,
Lord.
You know what? I said no to T'Challa, no ticket, and everybody looked at me like, I don't know. You're starting trouble,
Look, when Monica said in Vision that I have a friend who's an engineer who could help me tackle that problem, We all were like, he's coming. Not even a follow-up. Not even a, yeah, my friend's name is Adam. Or nothing. No other things. Crickets, man. That was unkind.
That would have been really nice. I was going Fantastic Four Reed Richards, but that was an option also. But like, they don't read the comics. They don't know that they were in a relationship. That was like in 2019, right? Like, it hadn't been established yet. And even when you read this issue 2, they say how like she's broken up with him and she's with Jericho Drum.
That's another thing that was not never touched upon in issue 5.
Happened.
There's no talking about which, because remember, Star Fox is hitting on her. He's like, yeah, and she's like, I'm good on that front, right?
Yeah.
Well, with which guy? I still don't know. Is she with Jericho Drum? Is she with Blue Marvel? Neither. Like, what's? She's
a strong, independent woman. She good on that.
And that's what I thought when she said it. I thought she just like, I don't want to be bothered with no men's right now. You go ahead and step with your lipstick and your earrings.
I get that, but I guess just me. This is just me personally. There's not enough Black super love in comics, particularly mainstream.
We agree. We with you 100%. We with you 100%. It's like
you have the most powerful Black superhero couple Marvel's ever had. Physically powerful.
But Jordan D. White doesn't want to deal with the editor that happens in Black Panther. That's just too much continuity and emails that are going to be.
I'm talking Monica and Blue Marvel.
Oh, them?
They're the most physically powerful superhero couple Marvel's ever had. And that was a beautiful. Can you imagine if they had
probably
kids?
Why they don't want to deal with them.
If they had kids?
Well, if we do that, we would be reducing Monica to being a damsel in distress, always depending on Adam Brashear to come to her rescue.
Unless you don't write her that way. What do you mean?
Thank you. Unless you don't write her that way.
Exactly. Thank you. You don't have to. And why would I would think a lot of times Monica would be getting Blue Marvel out some stuff.
Exactly.
Y'all know why I said that, right? Y'all know why I said that, right? That was the reason for the other relationship not working. Because we were constantly writing her or portraying Aurora as the damsel in distress.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking. I'm still sensitive. It's too soon. We're not talking about that.
It feels like every time a writer gets on Storm,
my fault.
Whenever a writer gets an opportunity to do commentary on how the relationship between T'Challa and Storm is, whether it's Vita Yala, Coates, or whoever's doing a book, they always put their own spin on it of like, this is a relationship. You guys think you know about T'Challa and Storm here? Well, here we're gonna add some subtext to why they broke up and how they're feeling today, and then another guy comes in and another guy's ruins it. So I'm done with that. I'm done with that entire relationship stuff. Like, I don't care anymore.
He can't keep a woman though. He can't. We don't know why Monica. We don't know what happened with Monica Lynn. Somebody wrote something one way and then somebody else wrote it a different way. I don't know what's going on. They don't really want that dude with no female. Like
they killed her.
She's dead.
But watch this. She died. Don McGregor came back and wrote her dying from cancer after Reginald Hudlin wrote that the cure for cancer was in Wakanda.
Yep.
I'm like, how did you do that? Like, you just didn't want nobody to have.
It was stage 4. It was stage 4. It was undiagnosed.
Your lady, you wouldn't give the cure to your lady? What's up with that?
Oh wait, I was like, oh, whoa, pause. First of all, you broke up with her. You said you're gonna holler at her. Next thing you know, she over here singing a sad love song because she didn't find out you and got engaged. We know the cure is right here. The dude that already wrote it, good looking. We got that. Don McGregor, you upset because this is your character. You did create her. You don't want nobody else to have no use for her. You don't want nobody else to do nothing else for her. So you just gonna kill her off with cancer.
See, all the Kimoyo beads were on Krakoa, and so we just couldn't do what we had to get done.
They buried her with a heart-shaped herb.
They should have gave her that synthetic. To her about 2 years before. Barely.
Storm and Cable made absolutely no sense. T'Challa needs to move on from Storm. It's done, y'all. Wow. Wish they would do something with
that. I don't want to talk about that.
Night Thrasher.
Richards than age to damn teenage, and so has Valeria. When the hell have we ever seen damn superhero kids age like that? And T'Challa can't get him one. Matter of fact, damn T'Challa, can't none of them get them one? How old is Luke Cage's kid? How old is
Monica Lynn? Monica Lynn was actually made her first appearance in Avengers, and I believe it was that Roy Thomas.
Paul, help me out now. Paul,
right.
Don't leave me out here hanging. I said, Paul, don't leave me out here hanging. Luke Cage's kid ain't age like this. They got a child. They child ain't age like Franklin and Valeria Richards. What's going on? What's going on? Matter of fact,
because they can't age her too quickly because when
powerful parents.
When she grows up, she's gonna be Captain America, so they can't age her too quickly.
Oh my God, she can't age like Franklin.
Nah.
See, Franklin was busy creating universes after Secret Wars, and that's why when he came back, he was like 2 years older.
When was Franklin and Valeria born? In the 80s or the 90s?
Franklin was born in the 70s. Valeria
was born
in the 2000s.
So in the grand scheme of things, you know, Danielle Cage wasn't born until the 2000s.
Is it old man Logan she becomes Cap?
Should be at least the same age as Valeria.
Yeah, like I should be seeing her. She need to be out and about. Like
a little steel-skinned 8-year-old.
I do appreciate
she's Power Pack was out and about back in the day.
She's basically a toddler still, right?
Yes.
We saw Power Pack had
like
top
terrible 2s, 3s, something like that. Wasn't she born in like 2004?
Yeah, so she should be in kindergarten at least right now.
All right. I want to ask D-Real to show me your favorite page of artwork on this comic book. Go skim through it. I want to talk about this also. This is where you get to redeem your code and you get to peel.
Yours isn't in there.
So no, it's not in here. I don't think it's in anybody's. This whole redeem help thing hasn't been happening for comic books that I know are low selling comic books. And that's like a sign now to me. Because if I go ahead and read The Amazing Spider-Man, they'll have the peel, they'll have the sticker. But I'd feel like Marvel's saying this isn't even worth it. We're not even going to get that many people who are going to want to redeem this comic. And so we'll do hey, just email one of our interns and we'll solve it. But for the big books, they get the peel.
Did you
see real? Hold that page up again.
Okay.
Is that Miles or Peter Parker on there? You can't really tell.
Dang. It looks like Miles to me.
Nah, it's a Spider-Man because she debuted in ASM.
It looks like, but she debuted in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so
I was thinking
that would stand to reason. Quick question. How many times did we see Monica in her energy form, or is that not a thing anymore?
She did it a couple times, but like the art made her look like she was still normal. Remember like issue 3 when she was in that hidden dimension, the green people with the faces? She was like, "Oh, I'm not even looking on the right spectrum of the power set," and she changed her radiation.
So when she has like color like this, literally on the cover there, so she can fly now without having to transform. I'm being petty. I'm sorry.
She hasn't been flying much.
Her powers have been
you know what I'm getting at. That's the question I'm asking. If
she can holographically project and bend light and make herself look like a regular person now. That's what it is.
There you go. Explain it away.
You just got to think it through, man. You just got to think it through.
She's glowing, okay?
Or she's starting to become more and more like the Monica Rambeau in the MCU.
Ooh.
There go. There Theo go again.
But he's right though. Like when a character doesn't matter that much, you can easily we'll just change them.
The
reverse happened with Kamala.
I can change your powers. I can do whatever I want to do. A la Ms. Marvel, excuse me.
Damn, that is MS period. That's not Miss. Miss is MISS.
I corrected myself. Don't be correcting me. Respect your elder.
The thing is that we know because we read. We know. And so as we said, it's an introduction for the casual fan. So the casual fan, if your introduction to Monica Rambeau was doing WandaVision, You're not seeing anything off with this. If you've been watching the Marvel previews for the movie and everything like that, you're not seeing anything off with this. It's those of us that know this character already who were expecting something different. We're getting this, and we just sitting up here like this. I mean, we cognizant. We see what's going on. I mean, that's a valid question, but we haven't really seen her in her energy form. We know why we haven't seen her in the energy form. We ain't seen her in energy form.
And is Monica
that take up too much of the budget in the movie?
Is the cinematic version of Monica Rambeau going to be interesting enough to make casuals want to learn more about Monica Rambeau?
Well,
or
that's
it's going to be a character that also ran.
Well, to jump on that, it's not just that. Is Marvel going to promote her? Are they going to have that same level of synergy that they do with their top tier MCU properties and promote her in the comics in the same time they're doing the movie? That's the question I have.
Well, because Photon 1 through 5 came out long before the movie. So
well, the movie got delayed.
Or this
the movie got delayed.
The movie got delayed. So
yeah, I know, but still, are we going to remember this later on in November?
No, the bigger question is, are they going to do a volume 2 or have her join the Avengers, have some comic book with her in it? Now that 5 is out, there's not a single issue of Monica anywhere.
Then they shouldn't base it on the strength of this series, if that's the case.
Here's what I would say. Just looking at experience. Right after we got Black Panther, or during the time that we had the first Black Panther movie, what did Marvel do? They dropped us, what, a 10-issue series of Shuri? 10, 12-issue series of Shuri? Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was after, yeah.
Okay, so we got Monica Rambeau. And one of the things that I pride myself on, me and Daryl talk about, is the fact that we touch these IPs in various forms. We know it's not just the movie, it's not just a comic book for us. It's the action figure for us. It's the clothing line for us. So you sit up here and you say, okay, well, what did you do with Shuri? You didn't release an action figure when you released Black Panther, the first movie. You didn't do anything as far as Shuri goes to hype up the griot Shuri. You didn't do anything about that. You still had people stuck on that particular Shuri. The only thing you did with griot, you said that was the AI. So that's the history with that character. So I look at Monica Rambeau, Paul, to your point, they pushed this movie back. So you probably would have had the old, and that's an ugly looking action figure, by the way, that Hasbro just dropped a couple of weeks ago. But that action figure don't tie in with the MCU version of that particular character. So now you sit up here and you say to yourself this, okay, well, if you really wanted to build up hype with the Monica Rambeau action figure, when WandaVision was dropped, you'd have dropped that action figure. You would have. If you were trying to build up hype, if you were really trying to build up hype with this particular heroine, she would have appeared in other Marvel projects by now. It wouldn't have just been she didn't even show up in Ms. Marvel. She didn't. Why not?
She could have.
Huh?
She could have. But why? Because they were doing enough black during that year. That was the Falcon Winter Soldier. They were coming off of other, black. So we're good on black right now. So we'll pull it back. It's not being done by people with a goal.
One.
There's other things.
One at a time.
To heighten it. And if we go back to phase 1, what did they do to phase 1? You will always see the hero show up in somebody else's movie and they say such and such and so and so will return over here.
Yeah.
You're not getting this build up for Monica Rambeau. So it's like, and this was a concern. When the movie drops, what are you going to do with her? Because there's no solo projects coming out for her later on this year.
No, there will be when the movie's out in November. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a comic to coincide. Well, who's going to be writing that comic book? I'd rather just put her on the Avengers, and at least it worked the first time. The people who read the Avengers, they pick up that anyways. It's a team book. Boom, she'll be there, and then see what happens. Maybe a solo spins out, sort of like Blade is getting right now. But also like put a proper top tier writer and see what happens. See what happens if the character flourishes when the company, shows the audience that this character matters because the writer is Chip Zdarsky,
I think it was a missed opportunity to put her on the current new Avengers roster.
She still could join. Because Blade wasn't there.
Hopefully that happens.
Yeah, they might go like 50 issues again with the Avengers, and she'll join somewhere early on. Marvel was tripping over their own feet at the time WandaVision came out. All the books and the figures, etc. We're way behind. They were way behind. I don't think Disney believes in the Marvels movie. Yeah, that's why they changed the name from Captain Marvel 2 to this thing. But like if you cared about Photon, maybe you would have added her name into the title, but you just wanted to Captain Marvel the movie. I don't. Anyways,
this is my concern with marketing the Marvels. The fact that the first movie, those action figures were peg warmers. They sat there. Like, you can get them for next to nothing. So now my thing is, okay, if I'm looking at this, because you got to release action figures to coincide with every movie. That's just how that's got to go. Okay, so you're going to give us another Carol Danvers. Okay. You're going to give us another Ms. Marvel. Okay, well, you better put some accessories in it. And Hasbro, you ain't been doing that recently. Chillmonger is going to be 38 hot with y'all if y'all release another Kamala Khan action figure, and y'all better do something.
Yeah, better not glow.
So are we going to get the female accuser? Because you already released the deluxe Ronan the Accuser action figure, so you ain't finna do that no more. So you really don't have no choice. Oh, Nick Fury is in this movie. So are we going to get the updated Nick Fury action figure that everybody been looking for since he showed up in the MCU? Bald headed with the eye patch?
Everyone, you hear Theo talking about action figures, you're just like, what's this guy talking about? It's about the movie, it's about the comics. These things matter, though. The things that surround it. You can tell that how people think who work at that company in every branch of it. You can tell how much this thing matters when the emails are being sent to include action figures and books and every other outlet, any way that they sell. If they're not merchandising, someone in here wrote a comment about merch, right? Theo?
Right. I said, if the movie don't move and the action figures don't move, don't look for no comic book. Like, that's not what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
The merch don't move, and they looking at this.
Facts.
This movie is because this movie is gonna be marketed more towards women, the female persuasion, than Black Panther 2. And that movie, the merchandise, all that, it sucked major caca. It did not move. You can still find that stuff in the store.
I was just in the store. I saw a bunch of it's still there.
You look like, listen, I don't know how y'all finna do this right now, because I don't know. I'm hoping, because at the end of the day, I like comics, so I want you to be successful. I do. But I'm looking at you. I'm looking at
Anybody else?
Lunch boxes. That's how you know you're an A-list comic book character.
You guys want to close this one out, or do you have any last words about the Monica Rambeau issue 5, or just the series in whole before we leave here?
I wish we had more time.
How did that 5-issue run grow that character, or did it just set that character
it
up?
Grew her powers. It just didn't. It didn't end. It didn't finalize. It raised a lot of questions, but didn't give you answers in the last issue. Unfortunately,
it looked like a coming of age story, but who came of age was the question I was asking at the end.
Two things can be true at the same time. I believe if you combine both what Paul and D-Real are saying, that's the logical conclusion. I'm with that, Paul. You explained it. I've seen enough history. If I just look at the stuff on the wall and how it's fell into play in the past and everything like that, a mother mine said she had to eat it. She had a story she wanted to tell. She had to eat it. She had to follow. She did the best she could with both.
We got behind the scene. He says, let's get the Bitterroot movie. That's an independent. Spawn, independent with Image. Philadelphia.
Tuskegee Heirs. I want a Tuskegee Heirs movie.
Philadelphia. I'm saying that. Did y'all read Philadelphia 30?
No.
Have you been reading Exile?
I'm not going to spoil it for you, but let me tell you something. First of all, Philadelphia is probably one of the best comic books that's on the shelves, hands down. What Roger Barnes is doing in the universe that he's creating with Philadelphia and Nita Hawes, with Blackula, and what just happened in issue number 30, he just needs one deal. HBO just needs to just greenlight his project. He has the makings of building a Philadelphia universe, which would be crazy.
And he made it sound like he has that coming up. He wouldn't answer you clearly, like what's going on, what's cooking.
He's got something cooking. Trust.
Chuck Brown.
Chuck Brown. That was a dope series. Flawed.
It was a real dope series. I enjoyed it from 1 to 6.
Okay.
Tuskegee Heirs would be a great anime.
It would. Marcus draws in an anime style anyway. So
right.
Yeah.
And when you give these people your money, rather than giving a place like Marvel your money, who are not without insulting Marvel, let me restart that. When you give these independent creators their money, these guys don't have glass ceilings set for how popular their characters can be. They're going to shoot them to the moon. So when I think of characters I'm going to support,
what
am I here? I don't care about any black
Marvel was shutting you down, bro. You were talking the truth.
Yeah, I was right about to get into it.
Whoa. Help.
Boy, they own us tonight. They own us tonight.
I say, shut that live down. They speaking too much truth.
Hey, Paul, I want to get your opinion on something. Have you read Exile yet?
Exile?
Yeah, the new
the Wesley Snipes one?
Yes.
No, I bought it. I haven't read it yet though.
Hey, when you read it, because issue 3 came out this week. I like the first 2 issues and everything like that. Check it out and tell me what you think.
Sure. Most
tell
definitely.
me what you think. Yeah.
Behold the hand of Marvel.
I got to get into this Philadelphia. What, I'm 30 issues behind already?
30 issues behind, yeah. It's a dope series, man. I can't. There's no better written series that's on the stands right now.
Paul, did you ever read Black or White?
Yeah, both. Yeah, absolutely.
Dope.
Absolutely. I got this series.
I love Black and White. They're great.
They got them in like the 12 issue, the 6 issue collections and everything like that.
Trades? Yeah. Of Black and White? I don't know if there's trades.
Not Black and White, Philadelphia.
There's a trade of Black.
Philadelphia's in trades. Absolutely.
Okay. I got to get started. Good God.
I haven't seen a trade of White, Theo, but there is a trade of Black.
Okay.
And there's no absent father trope. It may seem like that from the beginning, but you keep reading. I was saying before Marvel shuts me down, I don't care about your black characters unless it's T'Challa and Storm. You, the company, have shown me only these 2 characters are relevant. Every other time I see another black character on the stands, I'm be like, yeah, but this has a shelf life. This is not going to last. I can see from who you put on as a writer that it doesn't really matter. I'd rather just give my $4 to a place that, like, I'll buy 2 Black Panthers before I buy a Black Panther and a Misty Knight or one of those other characters who have their place. I don't care if they do another Blade, Daughter of Blade series. I'm like, who the hell is this character? This character's not going to be here. I don't care for, you name them, I don't care for them. There's 2 characters that matter, which is Storm and T'Challa. If they do a gentle book and it's called like Gentle Nesno or whatever they call it, I'll be like, yeah, that's cool. They're doing a book about him, but this has a shelf life because I know that there's like 20 X-Men who take priority before this guy, and I don't believe
you need a new name.
I like the name Gentle, but Tattoo. What do you want to call them?
Any Marvel
Gentle sounds too soft.
Can be made an A-lister if Marvel chooses to do so.
They've only chosen to show me 2 of them. And
they've only chosen to do 2. I agree.
So on this YouTube channel, the efforts will be T'Challa and Storm, and that's just my take on it. What were you going to say, Paul?
No, that's it. I mean, I agree with you. There's only 2 Marvel A-list black characters. Technically 3 if you count Miles, because I think Miles is honestly, I think more kids today are familiar with Miles than they are Peter Parker.
But even he's got a ceiling because Spider-Man belongs to Peter. Like you say,
that's
the word.
The only reason they haven't put him in the movies, I think, honestly, because I think it's legally questionable because Marvel sold all the rights to Spider-Man and its roster of characters at a time that Miles didn't exist. So he's in that post-sale limbo, which I think is a large part as why he hasn't shown up in the MCU yet. Not to mention Tom Holland's his contract has to expire before they bring in Miles to take over.
Yeah.
His contract's got to be really very expensive for them to not even.
He's got what, 3 more movies to do?
Yeah, because he re-upped. He re-upped and he'll have more movies now.
So we're not gonna catch Miles anytime soon.
Or the X-Men.
The MCU got to do 3 things before I ever come back. They got to do something about the whole T'Challa situation. I'm upset about Frank Rambo.
I actually thought you were gonna say T'Challa 3 times, but all right, Frank Rambo, yeah.
And I'm in my feelings about Lamar Hoskins. As a veteran, as a diehard T'Challa fan, as an African American father, make sure I say that right. As an African American father, and as an African American veteran, I'm in my feelings about that.
They should at least give the brother some superpowers before they killed him off.
He got him in the comics. That's what I was like.
He was more powerful than old dude.
Y'all make this go just to prop up John. I'm like, if that ain't, and then he's an E9, like he was a sergeant major. Like, ain't no sergeant major kissing no captain's ass. That ain't how that go. Y'all had it. I knew it was bad when somebody that didn't look like me said, "Yeah, man, he just have his little homeboy, little lapdog, clean off the weight bench behind him." I like, you only say that because you don't know. You can only say that because you don't know, and that's part of my problem. You don't know. So till Marvel make that right, I'm done.
Yeah, I remember in the comic books when they first, made John Walker and him Captain America and Battlestar, they were gonna try to call him Bucky. And they like, oh no, you ain't calling no big old black man Buck.
Who told him not to do that?
We're not
that was actually a really good, like, 2-page story in
Captain
America.
Who told him not to do that? Who told him not to call him Bucky?
The government
Interesting story on that. Dwayne McDuffie.
Because he wouldn't. He didn't want. I'm like, y'all ain't calling me Bucky.
That's another reason why I said it's so important to have black editors and people behind the bullpen, not just because they will be the ones who actually write the stories, but being in the bullpen with other writers, they can say, hey, dude, you might not want to go do that because that's kind of racist or offensive, or here's an opportunity for you to take it this way. Having more black people in the writer's room, even if they're not directly writing the book, influences, gets to share those voices. They bounce ideas off of each other all the time. And that story that you just said was a perfect example of that.
It reminds me that they're still black. Okay, let's take it to the WWE, guys. If you guys remember Hulk Hogan, there's an audio of him saying some really hateful stuff back in 2006. But this was revealed in I may have the year wrong, but 2014, it's revealed that, oh my God, Hulk Hogan said these things. And he's like a brand ambassador with the WWE still. He's under like a Legends contract. And what they did was they fired him. All right. About a year later, maybe or 2 years later or 3 years, they rehired him. And he goes to the locker room and he gives like a big speech to all the wrestlers. And he was basically saying, guys, look out for those cameras and one of those things. And it wasn't much of an apology. Well, Titus O'Neil, all the black wrestlers were like, nah, we're not having that. Like, they had backbones and they posted something on social media like, we're all for second chances and forgiveness. But when the speech that you give has nothing to do with the wrongs and you're more talking about hidden cameras rather than speaking about what you did was wrong and how it's wrong and everything, and then we're just not going to believe you. But time can heal all wounds, but we're definitely not buying it. They basically had a statement like that, if you guys remember. And back to like Dwayne McDuffie in the bullpen. I want that. I want the Dwayne McDuffies of the world. I want the Kofi Kingstons and Big E's of the world, not the guys who are hired just to be part of the big group shot, just so they can feel good about how diverse they are. Look, we got person from this part of the world, that part of the world. I'll say it. There's someone in a wheelchair too, so we get points there too. I know it sounds like I'm being specific right now, but I'm not trying to be specific. I'm just being like, the diversity soup of it all is to please other people who that pleases for the group photo. But when I look at the photos of who's editing these books and I can see the not diversity of it, there's a difference. It's not fooling me. And I want more Dwayne McDuffies of the world is what I'm trying to get at. And that's not an insult at anyone working at Marvel today, because for all I know, you are speaking up, and there's a whole lot of stuff that you're stopping from coming out, like the Luke Cage. Do you guys know about the Luke Cage City at War, where I think George Floyd's mother needed Luke Cage to protect Derek Chauvin or something like that? That was a stupid story that he said he was doing. What was his name? Not Tochi Anibuchi.
It was wasn't that I don't know what it is.
Hoche Anderson, was it?
Hoche Anderson, yes, correct.
Yeah, that guy with no personal shots at him and the person he is, but that's a terrible idea, and I cannot believe there's a reason why you're not on a book since then.
I think it's we have to take it a step further, or to flesh out more what you say. It's not just as much as we have people in the room that look like us. We need people in the room that actually
By Logan's.
because I don't want to go at the dude, and I know we're not supposed to, but
Ron
there are
Gidley.
certain things that shouldn't happen when we do have a so-called black executive at Marvel. There are just certain portrayals that shouldn't take place on screen. There are certain things that should have been done better. And I'm not satisfied with you just looking like me. I know I need you to actually care. And I think even the ones that we have that look like us, they don't care. That's how I feel about it. It's either I'm going to hire somebody and tie their arms behind their back so they can't do what you would want them to do, or I'm going to hire somebody that look like it's basically just a token hire because they don't give a damn about what you give a damn about. They're going to do what I tell them to do anyway.
We're all on the same front here. So I'm Shillmonger. Thank you if you're watching and joining from the Black Comics Lords. That's my YouTube channel there, and you can subscribe. Also, likewise, if you're watching on my channel and this is the first time you've seen Paul, go check out his channel. I'll have it all in the description in a minute. What's coming up on your channel, Paul?
We've got a couple interviews coming up. Wednesday, we'll be interviewing Charles Darby. He's the creator of a great independent book called "O Kingdom Come." Trade paperback that if it hasn't released, it's going to be released soon. Talking about ancient Nubia. It's very historical and it's good. It's a dope book. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
When is this, Paul?
This will be Wednesday at 9. This coming Wednesday at 9.
Okay.
Be Real with D Real is his channel. What do you have cooking?
Couple Black History moments. I am finding that we need to step up our game when it comes to our Black History knowledge, and to that extent, I am going to be putting out a video about Mansa Musa this weekend.
Okay, that's what's up.
I ain't saying, I'm just saying with Theo Butler.
I'm still trying to keep us, how can I put it? Still involved with Black Panther. So I will be dropping the review of Marvel Voices Wakanda Forever issue 1, the very last story in that book, the last Black Panther. I'll be dropping that this week. And Wesley Snipes Exile 1 and 2. I'll be doing comic book reviews for both of those.
Oh, I was about to leave, but somebody
I just got that poster too.
Let's see here.
Listen, I want to say who the hell is in Jobu, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
Well, wow.
I can make it out, yeah.
I saw some of it.
He had my man Scion. Don't nobody know who that is on the cover. He had Scion on the cover.
Who?
Wait, guys, wait.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Thank you, William.
Super sticker.
$1 super sticker. Appreciate you. And on the way out, he just got it right when we were about to close out. There came the money. Thanks to Shane McMahon.
That's what's up.
Thanks to everyone for being here. I will be doing Black Panther related live streams. Probably won't be on Friday, but all 3 of you guys will be welcome to join the live streams of the new Black Panther run. Look out for that when that happens. And I'll be streaming tomorrow. Chillmonger out.
Thank you for having me.